Okay, taking the clothespins off. Now we got our linings glued in on both sides. And now what we need to do, take a big wide sanding block and just go to it. What you want to do is get things flat all the way around, one surface, get the highs and lows off. And so you just do it. It's boring. Back pretty good. Not do the top. Alright, that's pretty good. I've got both front and the back sanded flat all the way around, and we're now ready to receive the top and back panels. I'm not going to bore you with a video of me sanding the back. You can look at that in the video about sanding the sides. I use exactly the same technique. And once I get that done, we'll cut the back out and glue it on. Okay, I've got the back panel sanded down good on both sides. I've got a nice even thickness of about a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little bit less, thereabouts. Now what we need to do is kind of examine it and decide which is going to be the outside and which is going to be the inside. This one's interesting too. It's got a bunch of wormholes in it. So some people like them and some people don't. I don't know. I think they're neat. I think this is going to be the outside. So what I'll do then is mark center line on it. I need a smaller straight edge. This one's huge. There we go. Straight edge. We got a center line. And then take this and set it down. Put the body of the uke on it and decide where it's going to go exactly on this panel. We've got extra space. Make it fit in with the wormholes and whatnot. Oh, that's pretty good right there. I'll just hold this down. Trace around it. There. Now I'm going to take this over to the bandsaw and cut this out. Okay, there. Cut the back out. Up to about a 1/4 of an inch margin or so around the outside, around the line, so that we can have a little bit of slop putting it on. And it's going to fit fine. Now, one thing we need to do is check and see if the neck and the body line up with each other properly. I can adjust it slightly if they don't. I'll reestablish my center line, which I've sanded off. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take my long straight edge here and lay it along the center line of the neck. And see if it lines up with the seam where the two ends come together, the two sides come together in the back. This one's pretty darn close. You can't see that mark, but I need to shove it. When I put this thing in the form, I'm going to want to shove it over this way, just about 1/8 of an inch, to get everything centered up. And now we'll go get the form, and we'll glue the back on. Okay, this is the clamping apparatus that I've made, that I use to glue on backs and tops. It's pretty simple really. It's just a flat panel with these 8 pieces of all thread coming up through, and I've got these 4 bars that I can clamp on to push it down. And then what makes it work really well, for each different sort of body of uke I make, I've got one of these plates, and around the perimeter of the plate, just around the perimeter, I've got foam rubber glued on, about 1/4 of an inch thick. And what that does for me is, even if there's some inconsistency in the flatness, when I clamp this thing down, the foam rubber will compress and push the top down good and solid all around. So the first thing to do is to take the body as we've got it so far, and put it in form. Now this one, I've got marks on here, you probably can't see them, to let me know when I've got the neck on the exact center line. And since this one, remember, we're going to need to correct a little bit because it's slightly off. Since it needs that, I'm going to clamp the neck down. I need to come up with something better for this, something more permanent. This works. Check again, make sure I've got it straight. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, yeah. The neck is down flat. What I'm going to do now is take a wedge. I'm going to stick it in here and slide it over until the seam in the body at the end is on the same center line as the neck. That's all there is to it. I just now we established that the neck and the body will be exactly the same. I'm just going to fit this in here this time just to see. While I'm at it, I'm going to transfer the center line on the back panel to the outside so that I can see it better. There's that. Okay, now just apply glue. Alright, now, that's it. Back's ready to go on. Give it one last brush. Make sure it doesn't have anything in the way. And I'll just set it in place, watching the mark I made for the center at both ends. Make sure that they're on it. And if you make the panel out of just one piece, that doesn't really matter, but since this one is book matched, the center line is going to be fairly obvious when it's finished, so you want it to line up good. Alright, that's lined up. Now what I'm going to do is take my foam perimeter pad, set it on here. And that's that. Then I'll put one first clamping bar on. Okay, now let's pick it up and look at the edges and make sure the glue is seeping out evenly. It looks like the rubber is compressing it evenly, and that looks pretty good. So that's it. Now what I'm going to do is just set this aside for about 4 hours for the glue to cure up. When I take it out of here, we'll put a thin plywood batten along the center seam on the inside.